radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
All right. How you doing, Fade to Black? Yes, it is. It's Fade to Black, kids. Today is Wednesday, January 28th, 2026. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Let's do this, man. Where did that come from? Been doing that for 15 years. I have no idea. Let's do this, man. Oh man, I don't know. I don't know when and where that started. The chat has me cracking up right now. I'm trying to, okay, professional face on this week on Fade to Black. An amazing week. Monday night, Richard Beckwith was here, an attorney, talking about secret UFO programs. Great conversation. Last night, Alexander Cheskowitz was here live from Poland, talking about his research into lost worlds. Fascinating conversation. Tonight, knocking it out of the park, Dustin Pari is here. You like that, Dustin? You like that? You like that? You like that? Tonight, real... So professional. It's Ghost tonight, real world hauntings. So it's Ghost tonight. And tomorrow night, L.A. Marzulli stopping by, the one and only L.A. Frequent guest here on the show, and somebody that I've just looked up to and admired, and he's just guided me through life, and I just love it when he's on the show. And so tomorrow night, we're going to explore more of his research into alternative history. Of course, we're going to talk about the Bible. We were just talking about that in the chat. Yeah, I'm so old. I've got an autographed Bible. Yeah, I do. Authenticated by EA Sports. All right. My next event coming up is the Conscious Life Expo. Man, had meetings all day today about it. It is the biggest conference of its kind in the world. 20,000 attendees at the LAX Hilton. February 20th through the 23rd. I've got my schedule. Look at this. That's my schedule. Every 2 hours. Up at 10. Last thing is at 10 every day. I love it. Not complaining. It's the biggest and the best. So come out and hang out with us. It's amazing, and if you know, but going there for the first time and stepping in and just seeing it is unbelievable. It's kind of like seeing the Great Pyramid for the first time. So there you go. I was just talking in the chat before I bring Dustin in, and I say this not in jest. Okay, we were talking about old stuff and things that we have. And I have a lot of things. And I'm talking about old things, ancient things. And it's gotten to the point now when I travel that I know, they know me. And so they show me their good stuff. And so what I will do, I swear to God, man, customs is going to flag me. And I have been hassled in customs. I've told the stories before, very frightening situations. But I buy cheap tourist stuff, and then I throw the finery in with that and just mix it up. You don't wrap it up. You don't take care. No, it's survived for thousands of years. It can survive a plane trip, and you just lump it all together. So when they do look through it, it just, they pass. And so I would love to show some of that stuff on the air because it's really, really cool. But I don't want to get not only myself in trouble, but the other people that I work with. But yeah, I love the ancient stuff. I do. I don't have a whole lot of it because I'm smuggling it. But one night on the air, I'll bust out a few. Somebody said, I'll just make this really quick. What about hieroglyphs? What about hieroglyphs? I do. I have it, but I can't show you. Yeah, man, I would get in so much trouble. I maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being paranoid. Being paranoid is a good thing, and that's why Dustin Pari's on the show with us tonight. Yeah, ghost haunts. Yeah, doing that stuff with gear. You need to be paranoid. And we're going to talk about all of that stuff tonight. I love the paranormal. I love the supernatural. I love investigating, and I love going on investigations. And not only that, I love watching it on TV. And it comes down to somebody like Dustin Pari, who not only does it, but he's got the experience, spirits, communication, not only paranormal investigations, but the most haunted places in the country. And it's one of those things where I've said it so much on the show. I don't know if I would go in there. You know, who would go into an old, rundown, closed hospital? Who would do that? Well, Dustin would. Right. And we're going to talk about all of this stuff tonight. He's a veteran paranormal investigator. Of course, he's a TV personality, best known for Ghost Hunters and Destination Fear. His links are below. I would like to welcome for the first time to Fade to Black, Dustin Pari. Dustin, welcome, my man. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Jimmy. Thanks for having me here tonight.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be great. And I don't know exactly where to start. I do want to say, I've got a first-time guest disclaimer. And I thought that you were on the show, by the way, before. And I looked it up, and I was like, that was a great show we did. Right? I looked it up, and we didn't.
It was so good, we never did it. Yeah.
It's one of my fondest memories, Dustin. It was amazing. But you get the first-time guest disclaimer, which is this. Dustin, it's you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends, and where the conversation starts, it starts. Where it ends, but we're going to end as friends. We're already friends, but you have to accept the disclaimer so we can do the show.
I will accept the disclaimer, sir. And perhaps, maybe we did this before. Maybe it's all part of one of those Mandela effect things.
It is a Mandela thing.
It's quite possible.
The Mandela effect is real.
I'll tell you, man, there's something to it. There's something to it.
There's something to it. When it was like when the Mandela effect was in full effect, 10 years ago, we did so we were doing this show, and it might have been a call-in show. Okay, that part doesn't matter. But somebody brings up two things to me. One was how many people were in the car when Kennedy was assassinated, right? Okay. And I answered live on the air, and somebody said, no, it was 6. I said, no, it wasn't.
Yeah.
And I go, and this is live on and my mind is completely blown. Like, where is my memory just that faulty? Or is there something else feeding this? And so there was that. I don't want to spend time on it. But the other one was today was the anniversary for the Challenger disaster, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that was apparently in 1986. But my memory was I took my friend to work, the lead singer in my band, who was only in the band for 3 months at the beginning of 1985. Right after that, we got another singer and everything else, and we were doing shows. That was in 1985. And I remember taking him to work because he didn't have a car. He's a singer. and I come home from dropping him off. I'm making coffee in the kitchen, and I turn on the TV, and there's the disaster, right, happening live on TV. It had just launched. It had just happened. And I'm now that's my memory.
Yeah.
How can it be 1986? And they brought this up live on the air, and my mind was completely blown. Like, I remember all of that. And how could it be off by a year? And I'm not the only person. There are millions of people that are like, I saw it in science class in 3rd grade, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so, yeah, there's something I don't know. Could it, okay, we're going to be talking about ghosts tonight. This is one of my theories, and it
Sure.
applies to the Mandela effect. Let me throw this out at you and get your opinion. Could it be that ghosts are nothing more than a reality that is blending in with us? And we see that, like you and I could be ghosts to them, right? Where the 2 dimensions just bleed into each other for a moment. We see each other, right?
Yeah.
And then could it be something like that? And it's actually a very simple idea.
Yeah.
What do you think? Is that a possibility?
I think it's definitely a possibility. It's funny that we both have a love of music and everything. And this conversation, the first time I had this particular conversation, I was sitting in Wellington, New Zealand, with Ricky Rocket, the drummer from Poison.
Good friend of mine. Yes, yes.
We just happened to be there filming for Ghost Hunters International, and they happened to be there on tour, and we were just staying in the same hotel, and like that was like my band, like as a kid, like that was the first cassette I remember getting. And I was just like, so my mind was blown that Ricky Rocket is here in New Zealand with me, like randomly. And we were sitting in the hotel bar, like he was a fan of the show, I was a fan of his, so we were talking, and we started talking about quantum physics and string theory, and a lot of it starts to get so big my brain can't really put it all together. But then we talked about it like this: picture time or layers of reality like a loaf of bread. I'm a boy that likes to eat, so bread makes sense to me.
Okay.
Each little reality or each little timeline is like its own little slice. And maybe sometimes, for whatever reasons we don't fully understand yet, almost like an accordion, that bread gets squished together a little bit, and those slices, those timelines bleed in just a little bit, and we see the other side, we see each other. And it's interesting, I asked a lot of questions when we do investigations. And one question that I ask almost every investigation I ever do is, what do you see us as? Because most of the time when we see them, they're kind of shadowy figures. They're kind of, transparent, ghostly images. If I ever get an answer for it, the answer's always been consistent in that it is light. So I start to wonder if we're just on opposite ends of the spectrum in all of this,
I like that bread. I like that. I like the bread thing. Can I steal that?
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Really?
More bread for everybody. But it makes sense, right? Like it
does.
makes sense that way. There's a good friend of mine,
Ricky, by the way, Ricky is into this stuff.
He is. We actually talked for a little while about trying to put a show together, like traveling around, and
I've invited him on to Fade to Black, and we've just never been able to. Beyond Belief, Coast to Coast. I've invited him on to all of that, and we couldn't,
just going to get it together.
We're going to get it lined up. He's
a great guy.
He's a drummer, and he's smart.
You don't get a lot of those, right? I used to be in bands too. You don't get a lot of. I was a bass player, so I was always kind of odd anyway. I know.
Okay, I'm going to let that one slide. But I often wonder when physics, because you just brought up physics is pushing on us that very thing: parallel worlds, extra dimensions, the multiverse, and everything is happening all at once. And you think about all of that. If physics is correct, then that explains ghosts. That explains a lot of stuff,
really
doesn't it?
A lot of things that we think are just paranormal may have explanations we just don't understand yet. It doesn't have to be. That's why I've never been a scare tactic investigator or event host or storyteller, because it's just, I don't find it. And this isn't like a bravado type statement. I get nervous when I'm in weird buildings and stuff, just because I'm not familiar with it, and it's unsettling. But I do spiritual research because I believe there's more there, and I'm not afraid of the interactions that we're going to have.
Right.
But it's I just want to mention it. So a friend of mine, Mike Ricksecker, he's a really great guy. He does a lot of stuff with Egyptology and stargates and all that. But he has this book about the shadow dimension, shadow figures being a very popular thing in paranormal investigating. My first experience is seeing a shadow figure as a kid, and if anyone's never seen one, but maybe you've gone to like a gas station on a hot day and you see those fumes coming up over the tanks in the ground. Pretty much that's it. It's like when Predator goes invisible. You just see like an outline of a person, but it's like wavy. Mike has this story in his book, and I've met several other investigators who've had this experience where this particular story was a gentleman who grew up in a house, and as a little kid, he's walking down the hallway. He stops and looks in the kitchen and sees a tall shadow figure behind the island. And terrified, he looks at it and runs down the hall. The guy lives there for the rest of his life. And one day he's in the kitchen making a sandwich behind the island, and he sees a little gray shadow figure about the height he was when he was a little kid stop, look at him, and run down the hall. And so, like, are we just seeing maybe even ourselves? Like the idea that we're haunting ourselves. And I tell people all the time, like, this makes sense to me because how many times have you driven by your old high school or, the old place you used to go to make out? Like, we visit places from our past while we're still here. Why wouldn't we continue to do that? And I think that there's a lot to be said for that
idea. I think about this stuff. First off, my house is haunted. I'm not going to tell my ghost stories. The audience is just going to, oh, here we go again. But it's like daily here, and I just live with it. All right. But when you have a story like that, and I think everybody, the man at the island kind of thing, where I think everybody has something that happened, but they just put it in a box and put it on the shelf and forget about it because life gets in the way, whatever, it was strange at the time. But if you go back and you open that box back up and look at it, what really happened? And that's the thing. I think it's very, very common, but we just forget about it. You know what I mean?
Our lives are busy. Our lives are hurried. We're distracted by design, and we're just kept moving so fast all the time that we really don't have time to sit and think about these things. And it was always interesting, going off doing a case, whether it's for the show or just a private investigation, and having something profound happen, having something like remarkable occur, which doesn't always occur during investigations, but finally you have something really big happen. And then you just have to go to work the next day. And I'm just like, what the hell am I doing here? Like, I was just talking with an invisible force yesterday that moved an object and like said my name. And now I'm like pressing buttons behind this stupid keyboard. Like, what the hell's going on?
It is so profound sometimes. I was doing an investigation for a TV show. And during this investigation, I'm not going to bore you with the details, but I heard my first disembodied voice, and cameras, everything going on, and it happens in front of everybody, and the people that were there, everybody that is with me, right? And so anyway, and we've, and I'm trying to be really cool. I'm on camera, but I'm like losing my shit, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the night, we're walking out and we wrapped. It was like 1 a.m. and I'm walking to my car in the parking lot. And this is what I do. It's cool when this happens. I'm alone. I go, I heard a disembodied voice. And I couldn't stop thinking about it all the way home. What? So let's start right there. I want to know your favorite places and your most, scariest moments and all of that. I want to hear about all of that. But a disembodied voice doesn't make any sense. I'm an audio guy.
Right.
Look behind me, right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm an audio guy. I know what sound is. I know what acoustics are. I know how it's generated. I know how to pick it up. I know my microphones. I know the gear, all of that stuff. So when you have a disembodied voice without a source to it, now you've got my attention.
Yeah.
How do you explain a disembodied voice? What's going on?
So I think it's one of two things, and it depends on the type of interaction. if it is in response to something that you're asking, if it's commenting on something that's in the environment currently, then we're dealing with some type of intelligent spirit, extraterrestrial, whatever it might be, that is able to see what's going on. And although we can't see them, comment and speak back to us. Maybe not long sentences, maybe just a word or two, but we may get that. The other thing we get is what we call kind of like people talk about residual hauntings a lot, the spirit that always just ascends or descends the staircase because that's what it did in life a lot. It put a lot of energy. We see this in lighthouses, the old lighthouse keeper carrying the kerosene lamp up the stairs. A lot of energies just expelled into that area time after time. And whatever reason, whether it's, who you talk to, quartz levels, limestone, underground water, that energy is kind of absorbed by the area. And when things are just right, we may see some of that mirror effect kind of play out. Same thing happens with audio. I think that sometimes when something so traumatic happens, and it's sad that we always think trauma and drama, but that's the way we are programmed. But like, I worked in news for like 8 years for television. So it's always, if it bleeds, it leads. If it's crying, get us a close up. I hate that nonsense. That's why I don't work in news anymore. But I think it makes sense. We think about those stories of the lady in white that we see, falling or jumping from the balcony. It's not a real spirit that's still doing that action, but it was something that was so traumatic at the time that it stained the environment. And when conditions are just right, we may see a glimpse, or we may even hear that scream of someone being murdered. Someone.
So you're saying, are you suggesting, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is it recorded?
Exactly. It's so they have something called stone tape theory, which basically is saying that these images or these sounds are recorded on the environment because they were so impactful at the time that they happened, that they actually imprinted in the environment. And there's different stories and studies. I actually did one for myself for a little while, just looking at the phases of the moon, like in the waxing and waning phase, just before and after full moon, the gravitational pull of the lunar surface is very strong on the Earth's crust, and it may stir up some of that energy. And we start to see more residual activity within those time periods. And it's just a very interesting thing, and I love those experiences, though, especially when it's can comment on something you're actually doing. When you can hold up an object and you have a disembodied voice say what the object is, that's you're winning all day right there. But what the hell does it mean? How is it happening? I still don't know.
Yeah, I for something to be heard, air must be moved. That's right. Okay, so the air moves, your ears pick it up, microphones pick it up because of the air. There's different things behind that, condenser mics or dynamic. I don't want to get into that. But you have to have a source at the front of that to move the air, right? Right? Guitar is pushing an acoustic guitar. You can feel when you're speaking, you can feel your breath creating, right? You have to, with a disembodied voice, you don't have that source.
Yeah.
So what is getting into our ears? Yeah. I'm completely blown away by that. And if I hadn't experienced it myself in such dramatic fashion, then it's like, well, it's made for TV. The stuff, I can be just as skeptical as anybody else. But disembodied voices, EVPs fall into that too as well.
Same thing. Yeah, right. Because we're recording voices we can't hear. And then, like you said, what's producing it? Where's the wind? Where's the air? Where's the vibrato? Like, what's happening? How are we getting it? But yet we're able to get it.
Scariest. What's the place that scares the crap out of you?
Oh, man. We did Castle Huska, which was out in the old Czech Republic. And it was this...
Not me, man. Nope.
It was just creepy going there. It was like a 2.5 hour ride through the dark woods. I'm like, where are we going? Right. GHI was a trip, man. We were on the road for like 4 months at a time and just 2 weeks this country, 2 weeks that country, just keep going. But we go to this place, Castle Huska, and the story is like, I appreciate a good ghost story, but I'm also very skeptical. And so when I hear some of these stories, I'm like, yeah, I've heard this before. I know this story, but this was built on a bottomless pit. I'm like, how'd you lay the foundation? Like, I don't understand that part, and then they tell me all these things that happened there. And, but the long and short of it for me was I go up into the attic space. I like to go to places that they don't report activity, because I think that if there is some haunting there, some intelligent spirit or whatever. Maybe they don't want to be bothered with us, so maybe they're in a part of the building that we're not supposed to be in. So I go in the attic of this castle, and we're hanging up there, and I see some dark, shadowy thing crouched in the far back wall. And now I don't know the lay of the land there. I don't know what animals are in and out of these places. A lot of them have broken windows. Also, a lot of times we get vagrants, homeless people that crouch in these places and crash for a while, you know? And so I yell to it, and it doesn't respond. It's dark. I can't see. Shine the light. It's just shadow. It's so far. And so I threw a rock over there. I've done this countless times. I'm like, hey, throw that back. Never happens. This is the one time it happened. And it lands at the feet of our camera guy, this guy, Steve Purcell, and he like hopped back. And we had this young lady with us. It was her first case. She's like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. This is uncharted waters for me. I've never been here. But I was like, you know what? Go downstairs and get my buddy Barry. He was an Irish fellow, great guy. He had all the like high-tech equipment for the time. He had all our UV lights, our full spectrum cameras. I'm like, I need him up here to photograph this thing and get some evidence of it. And we're not supposed to be left alone, you know, for television purposes, for safety. But like I looked at the guy, I was like, listen, I was a camera op for years. Let me hold your rig. I'll film this thing. Go get Barry because the walkies aren't working in this old castle. Barry comes up, and the moment that he turns this ultraviolet light on this thing, and there's an interesting idea about different light sources working with different entities or disturbing different entities, but the ultraviolet light hits this thing, and it stands up, and it is the height of the castle wall. And it runs across the back wall, goes through the window, obviously doesn't break any of the glass, and it was so cool because it's the middle of the night, and all the birds in the tree outside that window were affected by this thing. They all started squawking and took off. And then I'm standing there just with no answers. And I'm thinking to myself, I was alone with this thing for like 10 minutes, just standing here like an idiot, like filming it. Like it was terrifying, but like to see it just move up and go that fast.
What's going? Oh, okay. How scared were you?
That was probably the most scared I've ever been on any of these things, you know, because it was right there in front of me. It was a lot bigger than I was, and I didn't know what to do with it. I've never had anything throw a rock back or anything before. Like it's like an old trope I almost just kind of do just like, you know, to be funny. But the fact that it actually happened.
You know who was with me with the disembodied voice in that investigation? Susan Slaughter.
Oh, Susan, she's a great girl.
She's amazing.
Awesome. Very cool.
Two things that I talk about a lot. One is that disembodied voice, but the other one was the time that I've done a lot of EVPs with no success, but I did one with her on camera.
Yeah.
And I lost it, man. I mean, I truly freaked out.
Yeah.
We were in a tunnel below a police station. Okay. You know, no business being down in this tunnel.
Right.
Underneath this police station in the dark. We got cameras in front of it. You know the drill, right? Sound and all that going on. Yeah. And we're doing the EVP, and I can't remember the question. It was like about Marilyn Monroe or something. But we're in this tunnel, and it's dead nuts quiet, right? Just we're in a tunnel, and an evidence tunnel with underground what's the word file cabinets, right?
Okay.
Big. Okay. All right, so we're down there, and Susan's here, I'm here, PA or you know is running the EVP, and we're asking questions, but between, as you know, it's like 15 seconds of silence, dead, you know, you can hear anything, it's quiet. So we asked the question, you know, Marilyn, who killed you, or you know, something like that.
Yeah.
And we play it back immediately. It answered. And I'm listening, and you can hear us ask the question, and then you hear this clear as day. Now, my point being, this wasn't TV. Well, it was TV. I was there.
Right. Yeah, this wasn't editing magic. This was in the moment. Yeah.
I don't want to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
I'm not a controversial, you know, gotcha moment guy.
Yeah, no worries.
But that is one of the elephants in the room, isn't it? With all of these paranormal shows.
For sure.
You know,
man.
okay, how much of this is, all right, what's going on? Are you comfortable in addressing that?
Yeah. Oh my God, dude, I'd love to. Because honestly, I have such a respect for the spirit world. It's the reason I do what I do. I tell everybody, no matter what type of lecture I'm doing, no matter what event I'm at, my mission statement's the same. I believe us to be spirits going through human experience. I don't think we're from here. I don't think we stay here. But I think while we are here, we should be doing a good job of lifting each other up, loving each other, learning together, and getting through this life together. It's like a little soul for schools, you know, it should be a school for souls. Yeah, flip it, turn it around. That's how I feel about this life. And so devoting so much of my time since I was 15 years old, so 33 years of investigations, 27 countries, all but 3 states. It means a lot to me to do this work. And so when I have to see YouTube clips or TikTok or shows, and I'm like, that's not real. If you do it enough, you know the real from the fake. And I never call out people that are fake because listen, there's an ass for every seat. If people want to be entertained, watch a show that's entertaining.
I'm down for the entertainment.
Yeah, sure. Me too. One of my favorite shows used to be a haunting where they just recreated ghost stories. I love that. That was the best. I'd rather watch that than anybody investigate.
But let me tell you something. I was addicted to that show.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
it was so good.
Awesome. Yeah.
But as for me, I was very fortunate to have fallen in with the Ghost Hunters guys, you know, all being from Rhode Island. I was never part of a team. I used to just go off with my buddies. I got out of the ambulance company and I worked at, random people would show up. I'd bring them out to the woods. We go to haunted buildings, all this stuff. You know, it was just what I loved to do. So to fall in with Ghost Hunters, I was very fortunate because the difference between them and many other shows at the time, Jason and Grant were also producers of the show. So they had hand in it. They had control in it. So we never had to recreate anything. We never had to fake anything. The most they'd ever asked was like, could you guys just walk in the room again and put the, you know, equipment where you had it, just for like B-roll purposes. But they never interfered with our investigation. They never asked us to fake anything. So when we did what we did, it was just us doing it. And Jay used to be real hard ass about it too. He'd be like, if you guys miss it, you miss it. Like we're not, you know, we do it once and that's it. So that was very nice. But I know, you know, I've got friends on a lot of other shows and I know that's not always the way, but I'm fortunate to have been on a show that we could just do what we wanted to do and keep it on the honest. And I know sometimes people are like, oh, it wasn't very exciting. I was like, well, if you don't find getting a disembodied voice or a recording of a voice that isn't there exciting, you know, we're not for you, you know, but no one's getting possessed. Nothing's getting caught on fire. It's all just kind of mundane, I guess. But in comparison to the world that we live in, none of that stuff. EVPs are still amazing to me when I get one, you know.
This is last week. All right. I don't know if you can see it. Let me hang on for a second. Let me see if I can pull. Yeah. Okay. So behind I'm going to point. Mm-hmm. See that stack of paper?
Yeah.
Okay. That is a mic stand on top of that paper as a paperweight. Okay. And there's just stuff there. There's card stock and extra it's okay, stuff that I print with. Okay.
Yeah.
But you can see it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's got a paperweight on it, holds it down. I came in to my studio in the morning and I come in, start work. And all of that, the mic stand, which is metal, all of that is on the floor in front of those guitars. Okay.
Right.
On the
it's
floor.
A good distance.
Big pile of stuff with the mic stand. And I just stopped and I took a picture. I posted it online. Anyway, I just stopped and I looked and I went, okay, all right. You know, and I'm talking to the ghost. Okay. You just want to see me pick this stuff up. Yeah. All right. I put everything back. I didn't freak out.
Right.
And now in somebody else's house, if that went down, they are going to make assumptions to calm their nerves, right? To not let their brain go into the paranormal world. Oh, I knocked it off and forgot it.
Yeah.
Oh, it slipped. Oh, the air conditioner came on and blew everything. Whatever it is, right? They're going to explain it away.
Right.
But that kind of stuff, wrong camera. That kind of stuff happens all the time, doesn't it? Yeah. And people want to throw out that safety net and go, I moved it and forgot that I moved it.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, just like we started with the Mandela effect stuff, we just want to say, oh, it's our faulty memory. It couldn't possibly be anything else, you know, but these things do happen, you know, and I just feel like I personally don't want to live in a world without magic in it. I don't want to live in a world without the possibility of spirit activity and Bigfoot. And I know Loch Ness Monster is probably the least likely of all the cryptids, but it's still my favorite because it was my favorite when I was a kid. I need to have that magic in this world. It can't just be get up, take a shower, sit in traffic, go to work, pay bills, and then just go back to bed. Like, that's bullshit. That's not what this life is about. We were meant to do more. We should be experiencing more, and more is available to us, but we're distracted because we've got all these stupid things in front of our face. I do lectures about time and stuff. I'm doing one coming up soon. And a lot of people are like, oh, time is speeding up. Time has been going so fast. And it does seem that way. But the reason it seems that way is because our brain makes a chronicle of time based on experience. If something is something we're looking forward to, it takes a long time to get there, right? But we're wasting so much time just doom scrolling and looking at cats and people fight about politics that nothing means anything. You sit down, you're like, shit, 3 hours went by and all I did was scroll on my phone, but it didn't feel like 3 hours. Well, yeah, time feels faster because you're not cataloging anything that's important in your brain anymore because it's all just nonsense now. I'm getting old and angry, damn it.
I know. This is my old man response to that. I reset the algorithm. Right? Everybody's got an algorithm that's running your stuff for you, right? Yeah. Okay. So I'll reset the algorithm. I'll go and I'm not kidding. I will look up tiger cubs.
Yes.
And I'll watch tiger cubs. And suddenly my feed is now tiger cubs or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But I'll reset that feed and I will not doom scroll. I will not do it. As soon as it pops up, I close it down, I block, and then I reset the algorithm.
Yeah.
So
and people forget, like, you're in control of your reality, even that reality. Like, you can train your brain every day to be like, Mondays suck and everything's going to be bad. Or you can train your brain to think that there's going to be good things happening today. And your brain serves you and it will try to find evidence for what your hypothesis is for the day. It's going to be a good day or it's going to be a bad day. You are in control of it. You reset your own algorithm in your brain, just like you can reset your own algorithm in your phone.
I do it constantly. I'm a badass. I listen to Pantera. I ride a Harley.
Nice.
Man, I have been watching these videos of this baby bear and this little Labrador puppy play.
Yeah.
And the world just goes away, and I can just watch these.
Nothing wrong with that.
You never think there's that many videos of these two playing, but
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really, really strange when we start to look at how our reality around us is created and how we've gotten so acclimated to what technology is. It's happened so quickly that now the blur between technology and the supernatural and the paranormal and time slips and vortexes, and we've got stuff in the sky, all of these things. It started, I think that we're numb to it. So then when we see something sensational, well, we've been doom scrolling, right?
Yeah.
And so to react to something where we've gotten too acclimated to it, like we could see something really amazing and it doesn't move us.
Right. Or if we're witnessing something really amazing, all we want to do is document it. We're not actually living the experience, like you go to concerts and stuff and everyone's just like recording on their phone. I'm like, your sound quality is going to be garbage. You're not going to watch this over and over and over again. Like, yeah, I'll do it. I'm like, I went and see Foreigner recently. I get to go on stage with them. I recorded a song, posted it. But the rest of the night, it was just me and the band and enjoying the moment, because those clips at some point, you're just taking yourself out of it,
Man, see, we're going to sound like old men,
but
when you see that happen at concerts, and I get it, people are in the moment, but they're not looking at the stage.
No,
there's a performance going on, and they're watching their phone, as you know what I mean. And it's just like you said, it's everybody's doing it.
Yeah,
the whole scene.
The real show's right there. You can touch them, but you're just not paying attention to it.
Hold the phone up and watch.
And this has become the problem, I feel, with a lot of paranormal investigators, no matter what the research is, everything now, and I get it, because I used to be on the other side of it. I used to be scientific evidence. Show me things I can record, I can data log, show me things I can try to recreate, to disprove. And that stuff's still important because you can't just believe everything. You have to be able to throw some stuff out, because that's where the magic is, when you find something that you can't explain and your research shows you this doesn't make sense in this time, But everything now is just like blinking lights, cameras, everything's like some digital interface. Spirit's in here. I'm trying to talk to spirit out there. Why does there need to be a robot? It's like going to the airport bar and I need to use the stupid iPad between me and the bartender to get a Miller Lite. I'm like, you're right there. You've got alcohol. I've got money. Why is there a robot? So when I go to investigate, why do I need to use all this of equipment? I just need to train myself and train my brain and my spirit to be able to interact with the other side. I set up basic equipment, basic cameras, recorders, leave it running on a wide shot, audio running, fine. But I don't want to spend all night staring at this thing, waiting for it to light up. And like half the people don't even know what the hell it means. It lit up to red. What does it mean? I don't know, red. I'm like, that's not science, man. That's just nonsense.
I was with a friend of mine who, by the way, it's not into this stuff, right? Okay, just not.
Yeah.
But says to me out of the blue, dude, I just went to, oh man, it just escaped me. The witch on the East Coast with the cabin, the famous witch.
The Bell Witch?
The Bell Witch.
Yeah.
So and I took a tour of the Bell Witch cave. I go, what? Right?
Yeah.
He caught me by surprise.
Right.
And he was with his wife. All right. And this is what they tell me. They're not into this. Right. They just did it on, their tourist.
Tourist
right?
thing. Yeah.
Right. And he says that he had some kind of FLIR mode on his video camera. He had a video camera, not his phone. He had a video camera. So he was in, I don't know, FLIR, some kind of mode. But he says he's in the Bell Witch cave and this body walks up from the back of the cave and he sees it on his phone and then on the camera, and then he looks and it's not there, and he looks back and he's like, Jimmy, it was a body walking. It was a ghost, but it wasn't there. And but we filmed it. Now that took somebody that was just there as a tourist, to go see the witch's cave.
Sure.
Had his mind blown.
Yeah.
And how many times do we hear, well, did you film it? Did you? Well, he did.
Right. Yeah.
And only because he was set and ready to go, like you're saying. He was set and ready to go. And I think that's more important than anything. Don't try to grab your phone and turn it on.
Yeah.
You're going to miss the moment.
You're going to miss it. The moment you look away, it's going to go away. And I started to realize this, like, when I first was asked to do the show, I wanted to do it because I thought maybe by showing people evidence of the other side, maybe by showing people, some of these images or playing these EVPs, we can get people to think of a bigger picture and not just be so consumed with the material world that this life presents us. Maybe we can think of things in a more spiritual way, or just understanding that there's more out there. Just get people to question things a little bit more. And now, after all the years of doing it, I realize I don't really give a damn what anybody else thinks. Because no matter what piece of evidence I gather, no matter how great it is, I could have a camera showing you the other camera filming it, and nothing was manipulated, and I'll put it online, and people are like, at Grok, is this true? Like, no one will ever believe anything you ever show them. So why do I care? Like, it doesn't matter anymore. By the way, it's really sad in our reality now where everything is AI fake, and the first thing we do is ask the computer if it's an AI fake. Haven't we learned we can't trust the computer? I think that's the rule. Like, I saw Terminator. People saw it. But I just feel like I don't. I don't care about gathering evidence anymore. I always say, like, unless I'm doing something for like a homeowner or a business where they have questions they need answered, if I'm just doing it for me, I'm just doing it for me. Like, I just want to be a part of that moment. I don't want to be standing there behind the phone recording the band or trying to record the ghost.
If I see one more TikTok UFO video, I'm going to jump off a building.
God. Just reflections of just reflections of lights and stuff. It's just so garbage.
Here, listen, people. Some of it's real, okay, for sure.
Yeah, no, there's definitely
But
stuff out there, but the majority of it.
but those 10 billion TikTok UFO videos, and I'm not. It's probably around 10 billion. If that is going on, we are in the middle of a very serious alien invasion, and we need to arm up and prepare.
Right.
It's oh man, and people are desensitized. And here's the other thing, and you just let's stay with this. It's the same thing with the paranormal. Watch some of the comments. It's like, do you see what I'm seeing?
Right.
You know, they're here, man. I saw the same exact thing. And I was like, wait. And that's when you just have to back up and go, people are going to see what they want to see.
Yeah, for sure. You know,
now, the castle thing is pretty frightening. And we talked about disembodied voices.
Sure.
But when it comes to EVPs,
Mhm.
what do you think? Do you think that spirit has figured out a way to communicate through electronics, or is it just that electronics are the perfect go-between and medium?
You know, it goes beyond, like, I mean, everything became kind of heightened with Rodive's experiments and, you know, the Latvian recordings of these voices. Like, that's really where EVP takes off. But there's earlier recordings, like on like the old wax reels. There's Native American recordings of these voices, you know, using the old wax reel type of recordings. So I think that there's always been opportunity for us to perhaps record that which we cannot hear and that which we cannot see. And as the technology maybe gets easier for us to use, there's still some investigators that think that analog tape is better than digital recorders. There's some people that swear just by, you know, the Panasonic DR60. There's other people think it's all garbage. I really think a lot of it comes down to the investigator. Everything is energy and vibration. Everything, right? I mean, if we throw sand on a drum and we play a certain vibration, we start to get certain geometric patterns. And if we played at that certain hertz every time, we'll start to get the same patterns. So there's something to be said about energy and vibration, that which we cannot see, but we can kind of feel sometimes, depending on what level and frequency they're at. But I think that we vibrate at our own frequency. That changes, you know, where we are in our life and stuff too. But like when you go to do investigation, 9 times out of 10, if I get anything from EVP or disembodied voice, it's usually a woman or a child. Those are the spirits that seem to interact with me the most. Like, I'm kind of lighthearted, I'm kind of goofy. I like to think I'm pretty non-threatening, I'm easy to talk to. That's what I usually get. You know, if I do get like male spirits, they're usually like joking around. Like I'll ask a question and I get some goofy answer. I'm not the guy that you send in a prison and I get like, get out, and like all that stuff. Like, I never get that stuff, you know. But I think we all attract our own kind of thing. So regardless of what the medium is, whether it's an analog cassette, whether it's a reel-to-reel, whether it's a fancy digital recorder, I think it comes down to what you're putting out there, and you kind of bait the hook with yourself, with your own energy, and that's what you seem to attract, you know?
Okay, there are some, not naming names, I would never do that, but you see some of these investigations that the style is to agitate,
Yeah.
you know, and to be angry.
Mm.
Are you going to get out what you're putting into it? Is that a good way to approach it, or do you go in lighthearted and with a different attitude?
I have, and this is my own journey, right? You know, it's my own personal journey. It's not a comment on anybody else. I have grown as an investigator over the many years doing this. And at one time, I was big into trying to agitate them, stir them up, whatever.
Right.
And one of the most interesting experiences that I had no explanation for happened to me when I was in Lep Castle over in Ireland. This was back about 17 years ago or so. And I'm at Lep Castle, and they have what they call an elemental, like an earth spirit. And they say it's very tricky in this particular castle. And I'm up there in the chapel, and of course it's the bloody chapel, because it's for TV, so they gotta tell the stories, whatever.
Right.
But I'm up there, and like not much is going on. We saw like a flash of what looked like maybe it was a face, but like it was so fleeting. Plus, there's IR imprinting sometimes, so I'm like, I'm not really convinced, and nothing is happening. Now I was there with my friend Dave Tango, and the investigation sucks. Nothing's going on. So we try like insulting them, like, all the Irish people are all drunks. You believe in fairies and leprechauns. None of this stuff's real. And Barry, this is my first time meeting Barry Fitzgerald, who's a native of Ireland. He comes up the stairs.
I love Barry is
top notch.
Spot on. Yeah.
Top notch. Love that guy.
Me too.
And so I'm there with him. And first time meeting him, he comes up the stairs. He's like, "Oh, guys, whatever you're doing, you need to stop. The pressures are rising and this and that." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, And he goes downstairs. And Dave is like a little baby doe. He's so sweet. He looks at me. He's like, "So we should stop what we're doing?" I'm like, "Screw that guy." I'm like, he probably puts Jameson on his Lucky Charms. Like, we're from America. We're here. We're investigating.
Right.
And we keep mouthing off and we're doing all this crap. And nothing happens. So I'm like, see, there's nothing here. And so now the way, if anybody watches the episode, they cut to there's a point of view shot where our camera guy, we were done investigating. We're getting ready to go downstairs. Camera op says, "I want to wait and just get some B-roll while you guys are up here." So like, fine. So he's getting the insert of the EMF detector and all this crap. Dave and I are standing shoulder to shoulder, just kind of, BS and waiting to get out of here. This is when all of a sudden something happens. It felt like I get hit by a wave, like something lifted me up and dropped me straight back on the floor. This has only happened once in 33 years of investigating. I've never had anything like that happen before. Nothing like that happened since. Dave went into defense mode. He starts yelling and swearing at the thing. Camera guy never recorded it. So when you watch the episode, my camera's still running because, again, I worked for CBS and Fox for years. You don't cut the roll until you're out of the scene. So I'm just standing there talking to Dave, and this thing hits me, and you'll see the camera just points up to the ceiling. They spliced it together with me walking toward the back because it was kind of rocky. There was one where I kind of went to the side. So they tried to make it look as good as they could. But to their credit, no recreation. It just is what it is. Mm-hmm. But that changed me. That moment changed me because I was like, you know what? There's no reason for me to be mouthing off and doing this. Yeah, I get a reaction, but that's not the reaction I wanted because that was the end of the conversation.
No, you pissed somebody off.
Yeah.
You pissed something off.
And then nothing else happened. And I'll tell you, man, briefly, I got to go back there just last year. First time I got to go back to Lep Castle. And at the end of the tour, I had 24 people with me. Everybody went back out to the bus. I said, I just need a minute alone in there. And I went up there, and I've become very woo-woo, hippy-dippy. Like I said, the science stuff was all I cared about, but now I'm all about the spirit and the connection. And I went up there, and I knelt down in the middle of the vacant church area. And I said, when I was here last time, I was a very different man. And I've learned a lot since I came here. I said, so whoever was here, whatever you did, I just want to acknowledge it. And I just want to say, I'm sorry. And I want to thank you. And my hand to God, man, this crow came flying in through the little broken window in the middle of the night, slowly circled me, and then flew back out the window. I was like, what? That's all I needed. I was like, that was my sign. That was my little moment there. And I was like, okay, And so ever since, it's been just respectable,
Dave Schrader.
Yeah, of course.
And he's amazing, and worked with Dave for years, like you, and he's just the coolest. But every time, not every time. No, I'm going to say every time. Every time I do a ghost show, something happens, live on the air. And so Dave and I, this is just last Halloween, so 2 months ago. Okay.
Yeah.
He's on the air. I think it's Halloween night, if I'm not mistaken, or right in there, Halloween Eve. And we do a ghost show every year. Or was it Halloween night? Okay. The point is, I was trying to think who he had on for Halloween. At the end of the show, and Dave and I are telling ghost stories and having fun, as I live and breathe, and watch the chat right now. Mm-hmm. Who was here with Dave Schrader and the Slam? And did you hear it? Okay, so this is what happened. We are at the end of the show. It's 60 seconds, right? I'm like, okay, Dave, blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden, this happens. I'm going to try to make it loud enough. Let me move my coffee. Okay. Like that.
Yeah.
And I thought it was Dave. So I hear it And then I was like, man, what? And I go, was that you? And he goes, I didn't hear anything. I go, dude, like something fell over, like a refrigerator tipped over.
Yeah.
That's what it sounded. It was like loud.
Wow.
And this studio is a professional studio. It's soundproofed, sound treatment on all the walls, everything soundproof, floors, ceiling, walls, right? So when you do this, you hear nothing in here, right? It's dead. It's a dead room. And whatever it was, and I got to tell you, I freaked out so much. The video is incredible. I've watched the video so many times and gone back. It scares me. That night, so we wrapped the show. I walked around. There was nothing out of place. Nothing.
Yeah, just a big sound. That was it.
Nothing. Yeah. Nothing. And so before we head to the break, do you ever get a call and response? For instance, I'll be sitting watching TV.
Yeah.
And, I'll talk to the ghosts. I do it all the time. I live alone. I can do this.
For sure.
But I'll go, man, you haven't said much lately.
Yeah.
Right. I'll just say it out. And all of a sudden, boop, right.
Yeah.
Some knock. Right. Do you ever do that? And do you get a response?
Yeah, it's not guaranteed all the time, but yeah, for sure, man. The old shaving a haircut knock routine, or there'll be times even where I'm just at home and I'll feel like something's around. I just like, can you make a banging sound so I know you're here? And then you just hear like this one random knock in the wall. It's like, okay,
right.
It's like, all right. It's not frightening. I asked for it. I wanted it to happen. But there have been some times where, you're not expecting it. Like you said, I can't remember, I was sitting in some I think it used to be a confessional or something, wherever country I was in, they had this attic and I was sitting in there alone. And all of a sudden there's this huge banging, like within the walls of that little confessional. I was like, where the hell did that come from? It's just, you have those moments and can be very jarring for sure. But yeah, we'll ask for knocks and response. You get them once in a while, but yeah, sometimes not even. I'll just feel something around me, not an investigation. And I'll just talk to it and just see what happens.
It's something that I'm fascinated with, but the other part is I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to. We were talking about mediums earlier before the show. I don't want. Would you investigate your own house?
No, not really. I mean, like some stuff happes, but I never did an investigation. I just acknowledge it and move on.
Right. I mean,
I just like the mystery of it.
Is it best to just leave it alone and leave it for the professionals?
Well, I just feel like it doesn't bother me. So if it was something bothersome, I would do an investigation. But it's always very peaceful. Like I said, I attract good juju all the time, so I don't worry about it.
Yeah, Bill just posted up. I won't be able to play this. He's got the link up, and Bill found it and timestamped it. But if I play it back here, you won't hear the audio. You'll only see it. That's a problem with the studio. Maybe I can do that during the break. But I don't want to know. I don't want to know who's here. I don't want to know. I asked my neighbors. Okay, that's what I did. All right. So I buy the house.
Yeah.
And stuff started the first day that I moved in, the second day, first day. I'm talking about like crazy town. The movie Poltergeist had nothing on what was going on here. I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah.
It was pretty nuts. So after a couple of weeks, I'm out meeting my neighbors and stuff, and I'm out there talking to them. I'm not going to ask them, hey man, anybody murdered in my house? No, I'm not going to do that. But I was like, who on the, what were they like? That's all. Yeah. And everybody said this, it's a normal family. They built a house and moved out. They built a house, and raised their family and retired and moved out. Okay. That's it. Nothing else. And nobody could give me anything. I wanted something funky.
Yeah.
No.
Sometimes we just get, spirits that are just kind of passing through. And me personally, and everyone's entitled, they can enjoy their own beliefs. I never think spirits are quote unquote trapped. I always think that some linger, some visit. I don't think the afterlife is that far away. I think it is just kind of a shift. I think a lot of what we come across is just residual activity. But in different faiths, different understandings, they actually talk about kind of like this transitional timeline. In Buddhism, it's mentioned in like 7 to 10 days in certain cultures after someone passes, there seems to be this transition period where they're kind of around, where they kind of interact a little bit. And I have noticed that in my own life, not to mention the amount of emails I get from people, who lost a loved one and they start to have stuff happen within that 7 to 10 days after they pass away. And I think it's a transitional period for them getting over to the next world, or just kind of, saying their final goodbyes to us in the way that they do.
Patrick just posted, said, Jimmy, you should ask Dustin to investigate your house. Sounds like you might be curious enough, and the answers might make you understand, why your ghost is hanging around there. It's tempting. It is. If you are, out on the West Coast, maybe we should.
Yeah, we could hang out, see what happens.
Yeah, I think that I've got a good relationship.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Know what I mean? You don't need all the answers, Sometimes it's just nice to have that acknowledgement of each other, without asking all the big questions, all the big heavies,
Yeah, somebody said to me once, and we're going to head to a break here. Somebody said, this is probably 4 years ago, hey, man, so you should put a video camera on your stairs. Okay. So, and I was like, no, I don't want to see it. I don't want to know. It'll freak me out. But you know what I did? I bought a time-lapse camera. I did. I bought a time-lapse camera and I never set it up.
No,
it's still in the box. It's been in the box for 4 years. I don't want to see that. Oh man, so all right, let's take our break. Our guest tonight, Dustin Pari, is here. Ghost Hunters International, and Destination Fear and all that fun stuff, kids. We'll be right back. More with Dustin after this short break. Dustin, stay right there. I am your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Stay with us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get your alerts and access to over 2,000 videos. Click that subscribe button now. Go to jimmychurchradio.com and get the Fade to Black official podcast. 2,000 episodes, all of them commercial free for just $2 a month. I am hosting, speaking, and presenting once again for the Conscious Life Expo, the largest conference of its type in the world. February 20th through the 23rd, 2026 at the LAX Hilton. Speakers, event, and schedule easy. Just visit consciouslifeexpo.com. I will be hosting and speaking at the Sedona Ascension Retreat, March 20th through the 22nd, 2026 in Sedona, Arizona. An amazing list of speakers, and it's beautiful Sedona. Come and hang out with us and just go to SedonaAscensionRetreats.com. I'm heading back to the Midwest for the Contact Modalities Expo, May 1st through the 3rd, 2026, in Delavan, Wisconsin, at the Lake Resort. It is beautiful. This is a great conference right in the heart of the Midwest, where I'm from. I'll see you there. Just go to Contact Modalities Expo, that's XPO.com. I will be hosting and presenting once again at Contact in the Desert. That's May 28th through June 1st, 2026, the largest UFO conference in the world. Come and hang out with us June 23rd through July 1st. Tickets and everything else that you need is at contactinthedesert.com. Want to change your life? Want that paradigm shift? Then visit Peru with Brian Forrester and myself for the Inca Celebration of the Sun. June 23rd through July 1st, 2026, a full 10 days of visiting the country, all of the amazing sights, and of course, the celebration of the winter solstice. It's all simple to do. Go to hiddenincatours.com. Come join us for the Monty Python Scotland Tour, August 1st through the 9th, 2026. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event where you get to go to the castles from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. August 1st through the 9th, 2026. Just visit HaleyARamsey.com. Watch Into the Vortex on Gaia TV. It's Fade to Black for the screen. Simple to do. Go to Gaia.com, search Jimmy Church, or click on the link below. Follow Fade to Black on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Get all of the show updates every single day. It's now called X, but who cares? Go to jimmychurchradio.com and become a Fadernaut. Get a membership. That's right. Everything is commercial free. You have access to downloads, and you get to call yourself a Fadernaut.
Jimmy Church, Gaia TV, Fade to Black, here at Machu Picchu with Brian Forrester and Hidden Inca Tours. Amazing tour so far, Brian, but we're here to announce what we're going to do next year in 2026. What's going on?
Okay, November 2026, we're going to have our major tour of Peru and Bolivia, either a pre or post tour of Paracas and Nazca on the coast. And then after that, 6 days in Easter Island.
Bucket list, Easter Island. Come join Brian and I and his amazing team here at Hidden Inca Tours for Peru, Bolivia, and Easter Island. Signing out. Say goodbye, Brian.
Bye.
River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. Truly the best coffee on planet Earth. Just visit rivermoonwellness.com or their Amazon store. It's all simple to do. You can check out the Fade to Black blend, the Game Changer blend, or any of their Black Moon Wellness products. It's the only coffee I drink. It is the best, and it's Doc. Again, rivermoonwellness.com. All right. Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Dustin Pari is with us. Ghost Hunters International, Destination Fear. Oh, man. He's somebody that goes out there and gets it done. And we were talking right before the break about every time I do one of these shows, something happens. So, Dustin, right?
Yes, sir.
So I get up. I get up. You were probably watching me. I grab my coffee cup. I'm going to go out and get friggin' knock.
Oh, did it happen? I love it.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
It was Amazon. Amazon made a delivery. And
Nice.
I heard it. I was like, no way.
That's
No
awesome.
way.
That's
and I
awesome.
just tasted. Then I get the notification on my phone. There's motion in your front. And it was Amazon. So
the cosmic timing of the world, just having a little fun with you.
Friggin' Jeff Bezos, man. I had a heart. I was like, no, what? No. Amazon. Oh, geez. I was looking through the notes here, and Montauk is there. All right. Let's. You want to jump into that?
Yeah, let's chat.
You want to jump into Montauk?
Yeah.
From the very beginning, I was drawn to the case.
Yeah.
And I've had many of the people from Montauk on the show, documentary filmmaker that went out and shot an incredible three-part documentary on it. And I covered it pretty heavily, probably 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
it's just one of those okay, so let's start at the beginning. What attracted you to Montauk?
I was brought in with the Philadelphia.
You live close. You're out in the
we're
area.
not too far. Yeah, not too far. The Philadelphia experiment. The first time I heard about the Philadelphia experiment, that's what just was an alert to me. Like I was just so interested in this idea that they were able to trying to guise a ship, but end up moving a ship, and then people being fused to the ship. And I was just like, what is this about? Because I've always been a conspiracy guy. I need that in my life, and I don't believe all of it, but I always feel like there's going to be some little kernel of truth in there. Where did this story come from? And were these kids, the Montauk boys, were they really, kidnapped? Were they used for these experiments? What about the chair? And I was always into this. And then once I start watching Stranger Things, I'm like, wait a second. And then, I started doing a research on that. I'm like, son of a bitch, like this is where they got it from. And then I was just like hooked on the show. And then I started to go more into the Montauk Project. And, but what I love the most about it, like whether things of this nature are true or not, it's the enduring power of story. Someone walks by in an abandoned army base, and here we get these stories. These seeds are planted, and more people come out of the woodwork and start talking about it, and it endures. And something like that endures to become a hit show on Netflix the world over. Like, that's insane to me. I love it. But like, it brings me back to my roots, being a 15-year-old kid mucking around out in the woods looking for, the abandoned asylum that we had over in Exeter, Rhode Island. Like, this is where I want to be. I want to go explore these places. So something like the Montauk Project, man, it just ties it all together.
What'd you find out?
I don't know, probably about
By
the same
way,
as you.
Stranger yeah. Stranger Things. And we don't need to stay on this.
Right.
One of the best endings to a series that I can remember, it was actually well done. I was bummed that it was coming to an end.
Yeah.
But they wrapped it up pretty good. It was good.
I know there are a lot of people. There's always people. You can't please everybody. It's just the way it goes. But I just loved, this isn't a spoiler, but just mentioning Montauk in the final episode. I was like, there it is. That's what I needed. That's what I needed. I was like, okay, good. I don't even care what happens at this point. That was said. That was awesome. But I've watched some of the interviews, with some of the guys, and it's interesting. You try to pick up on. You try to study people and try to see like, okay, like what are the characteristics about the way he talks? What are the things that he said consistently from this interview to that interview? You try to find those common threads and think, okay, where could the truth of this be? The idea of just of guising a ship and moving it. Like, are we even able to do this kind of stuff? But I really believe that we're more powerful than we're ever led to believe. And I'll never believe the government tells us everything. You've seen the movie, like the men that stare at goats. Like there's something to be said about our abilities, and I ask people at all my events, I'm like, how many of you ever tried to bend a spoon with your mind? A couple of hands go up. Did it work? No. Did you try again? No. Did you ever try to play the guitar? You probably can't pull out a Van Halen solo that first time, but who's to say that we don't have those energies? So who's to say something like the Montauk boys weren't able to do some of these experiments, weren't able to move objects. I really think that we do have some ability to do this, to manipulate time and space around us. But again, we've been taught to play small, man. We've been taught that we are not powerful, that we need to be dependent, that we always need to play small. And I think that there's a lot more that we're capable of, and we just don't tap into it anymore.
Did you go out there?
Not yet, but I was planning on making an excursion there perhaps next month.
Yeah.
Have you been? I don't know what's allowable. No. That's what I wanted to look it up because I don't want to go all the way there and I can't do anything.
This is what a friend of mine did, and this was we're in 2026, right? So this is probably around 2014. I'm old in my mind, but about that time, who decided to go out and see what he could video. And he got in. Now it is I think it's Park Service, rangers, I think are the force, the security that's out there.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got in, shot a pretty crazy video, and got into the facility itself, under the radar, all that stuff. He,
Wow.
shot that.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he captured was an elevator shaft, and that was going down. And so when you see it in the video, it clearly goes down multiple stories.
Yeah.
Okay. But when you look at the blueprints and the description of Montauk, it's all ground level. They
Right.
don't talk
Yeah.
about anything subsurface. But it's right there in the video. So he ended up, after doing that, he went full tilt. Shot a full documentary, interviewed everybody, and put this thing together. It aired, I think it was a History Channel or something. And a pretty interesting project. I turned around and started a lot of interviews for everybody that is still around from it, and started doing it. And I just don't know. I just don't. Could it be? We don't have to name names. I'm not about
Sure.
that. But when you hear the stories, could it be that something did go on? Okay, but that the Montauk myth got away from them. And so now the stories get bigger and bigger and bigger and more creative. Is it that? Is it embedded memories? Is it that experiments and mind control? Is that it? Were they really kidnapping boys off of the street? Right. And there's that part of it too as well. What do you think? Is it something that is just the crazy uncle telling stories, or is there something more to it?
I like to think that there was some bit of truth in the beginning of it. Now, whether kids were, swiped off streets, I don't like to think that is how it started. But there's going to be something that happened there that caused some of these stories to grow. But then, like you said, do they take on a life of their own? Now there's a creature that was brought out of the vortex and is running around the woods, and we get a blurry photo, and everyone thinks, well, maybe that's it. It's just like going to a haunted house, like not an acting haunted house, but a haunted location. You get told the stories, but like you really got to just find like the lowest common denominator. Like that's probably where the truth is, But I go to a place and like, oh, there's a headless dog that roams the hallways. I'm like, there's not a headless dog. What? Like, no, maybe somebody saw something that looked like a dog, but now we made it headless to make it more spooky, So I
With
feel like
red eyes.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
Yeah.
So those stories always grow and become more than they need to be, But I get to think there's something out there, and I got to go through the proper channels so I can go do my own little investigation, because I can't just do. I always tell people, like, I started breaking into places when I was a kid. Don't do that, but that's how I started. Now I try to always make sure I go through the proper channels to do these things. But
is there okay. Do you remember the video game series Silent Hill?
Oh yeah, scare the hell out of myself playing it,
dude. Right,
just
right.
Waiting for that screen to change when you're going up the stairs. I'm like, oh, what's it going to be? It's on the ceiling. It's like, no.
That noise in the background.
You're just awful.
You just wait. And so the hospital scenes in that, which took up a few games, were some of the most terrifying things ever. Okay, the nurses, right? Okay, no, but it's the atmosphere of it.
Yeah.
Well, the famous hospital here in Los Angeles. Did you investigate that hospital?
No, I have not. I've done very little in California and the West Coast.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I would never. They say never say never. Well, I will never go into a hospital because of Silent Hill. Is there are there locations that terrify you?
It's funny that you mentioned, because that game terrified me. However, that game didn't come out till after I used to investigate when I was younger. So the first place I ever investigated was an old hospital. There's a psychiatric hospital. And we would go like floor by floor. It was before HIPAA. So all the nursing stations still had all the files there from when they closed it down. I still have glass syringes, like in cardboard boxes that are still wrapped in cellophane that we found in the supply closet. And it was just amazing. But it becomes theater of the mind. Like when I'm told what to expect, then I get freaked out. Then I start overthinking it. My personal dislike of any haunted location, regardless, I don't like prisons, hospitals, or large like nursing home buildings. Anything where there's a hallway with lots of doors.
Right.
Because I don't like pop out scary things. And I've investigated long enough to know, yeah, once in a while we'll get a loud bang out of nowhere. But usually if something is materializing, it's very, very slow. Usually if you're having interaction, it's very pleasant and it's very hard to get it to start. What I'm afraid of is just actual people being in these locations. You know, I remember doing a case in New Bedford, Massachusetts, an old like Army base or Navy base. And we had to go into like, it felt like being in a labyrinth. One, we're in the dark and there's all these tiny little passages and stuff. It's like where they used to keep the ammunitions and everything. And I'm there with my buddy KJ, and, you know, we yell, hello, you know, that nonsense. And we hear a guy go, hello. And I'm like, that's not a ghost. Like, that's a person. And now we need to find the person that's hiding in here. And you don't know what that person's going to be like.
Right.
We've had various cast members have been encountered people with pipes, with knives. KJ and I found a gentleman and his lady friend who were in a hole underneath one of the walls shooting up heroin. And so, like, we radioed our producer, like our camera guys with us, our audio guy. They call the producer, like, we stay away from them. The producer comes, tells the guy they got to leave. And I'm thinking, you're sitting in a hole in the dark in the middle of this labyrinth-like room in the middle of nowhere, like, to get high. It's so weird. And then they left, but then they came back. And so we had to call the police. And the guy ended up having knives on him and everything else. I'm like, this is what really scares me about stumbling around in these places. Because now I feel like anytime I go to a place, if I don't know if it's secure, I need to go slowly by every one of these doors, because you don't know if somebody's going to jump out and you don't know what mental state they might be in or where they're at in life, you know? So that's the stuff that really just terrifies me. It's more the fear of the living. It's not particular location, but anything with a bunch of open doors just screws with my head, because I always think it takes me forever. I have to look at every one as I go through the setting.
I was in, I think it was Arizona or Colorado, and we go to an old prison jail thing and doing this investigation. And so nobody's supposed to be there, right? It's locked down and all of that. We do the lockdown thing. And I'm going to tell you, I didn't dig it, right? I wasn't comfortable with, and the producer goes, okay, so Jimmy, we're going to lock you in a cell. I'm like, what? Say that again. You're going to what? Yeah, we're going to lock you in a cell. We're going to have cameras on you. And we're going to talk to you in a, you know, everything's no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it. And so I get talked into it. I go into this cell. They shut it, lock it.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting on the metal bed in the dark. Everybody leaves. And I freaked.
Did you really?
I freaked.
Yeah.
I did. It was claustrophobic. I can't escape.
Right.
If something's happening, I'm locked. I'm dude, right?
Yeah.
And after a few minutes, I just kind of said, you know, you guys got to come open this up. And what I didn't want to let them know was, like, I was hyperventilating. Like, I was like, I was not in a good space. I didn't dig that at all.
Yeah.
And it you know, and so I'm sure that you encounter these same things in the dark,
Yeah.
you know, where you can't see and you don't have an escape route planned.
Yeah, for sure. There's I don't quite have claustrophobia, but there are certain spaces I just don't feel comfortable in. And anytime you feel like your exit path is blocked or you don't know where it might be, it's tough. And I like to investigate with hardly any lights. Like, once I know the floors are safe or whatever, I like to just be completely in the dark so that my eyes can adjust. And if something starts to illuminate, I can see it. But you just have to get out of your own head, you know, because that's really where you freak yourself out the most. I learned this in documentary film class back when I was in college, the impact that audio has on a scene. and they showed like this couple making out in a cemetery in a car, and like the music stings and a clown jumps on the car and it's terrifying. And then they showed a similar scene with like happy light music, and it was just stupid, you know?
Right.
So
right.
and it's easy on the show. It's easy to look brave and strong when you're walking down the hallway. You get your buddy with you, camera guys behind you, audio tech is there. You're fine. But when it's 4:00 in the morning and you've investigated all night and you're exhausted, and you forgot your camera up on the 3rd floor of the asylum, and you got to go there by yourself now to go get it. It's like, oh God, I'm tired. I'm worn down. So what I started doing, and being a gentleman of the same generation, I play in my head, and sometimes we'll sing out loud the theme song to The Facts of Life.
Oh, that'll work.
It brings me such peace. Like nothing can be. There's no problems. No one. There's not be anything going on.
But that's when the buddy system actually works. You know, have somebody with you.
Yeah.
And that
there's not a lot of takers. There's not a lot of takers at 4 a.m. to go back in the building. Everyone's tired.
That's my point. That's, you know, we'll get the camera tomorrow. You know,
it'll be there.
Because when I'm alone in the dark, and I've done this so many times, you start hearing stuff. Yeah. Your imagination is taking off, and that's the scariest part. And then I want to ask you about debunking, because I'll give you an example. Okay, so shooting a ghost investigation TV show, doesn't matter what it was, and the producers are the production's in their own room, right? Okay, and they're talking to me, and I'm sitting there, and actually I was going to be interviewed by somebody, Zach Bagans or Susan Slaughter or whatever. And so we're waiting for that to come online, and I'm sitting there in the dark, and I'm hearing shit. I'm hearing pebbles. I'm like, what? You don't hear this stuff normally. Why is it happening now? So now I have to debunk it, right? I got to debunk it or I'm going to go crazy. And how do you do it? Do you go through that? Are you a skeptic in the middle and then debunk it? And if you can't debunk it, then move on? How do you approach that?
Yeah, I always try to find a logical reason for whatever's going on, whatever sound or image we might have seen. Like, let's check reflection. Let's look around for natural causes. That's why a lot of the equipment I'm not a big fan of, because a lot of these things can pick up, EMS vehicle goes by and they key the mic. It may trigger your REM pod. A lot of these vibration sensor things, that people like. There's vibrations that happen. You can change the bass of your voice sometimes and make some of those stupid cat ball things go off. And people are like, oh, it's a ghost, it's a demon. I'm like, no, I just made my voice bassier. I can make it go off. So and it's tough because I always said, I don't want to steal anybody's dream or anybody's magic, but I try to show them that this stuff can be very real, and it is very real. But most of the stuff that you're getting excited about probably has a logical explanation. And it's important to strip that away, because again, when you get that moment that there is nothing to debunk, that you cannot come up with any other explanation, now you've got something that's really magical, something that really means something. So always taking the logical approach first, trying to debunk it first. That's the best way to go as far as I'm concerned for what I do.
You mentioned earlier, I want to stay on this debunking part.
Sure.
You mentioned earlier it could be, recorded. It could, an event in history that is frozen in time and repeating itself. That makes a lot of sense. And I think there's something to that. Quartz, granite, stones. Yeah. And I'm at a lot of ancient sites where a lot of strange things. I'm just like, oh man, maybe it's just recorded. It's embedded. So you have that part of it. But as an investigator, and you go into that debunking stage, and now you're on the other side of it where, okay, we've taken all the logical things out, but this is what we're left with.
Yeah.
Is it possible that something is trapped and doesn't know that it's trapped and is maybe confused?
I've always had trouble with that. I mean, I'll never say it's not possible, because who knows for sure? We don't know till we get there. I kind of feel like we do a great disservice to the dead, if that's what we're really even encountering when we think we are, because I feel like it wasn't until people saw The Sixth Sense, spoiler alert, that all of a sudden we're like, that's why they're ghosts. They don't know that they're dead. I'm like, they haven't had to go to the bathroom. They haven't gone to work. Nobody's gotten laid. Nobody's had fried cheese. They probably realize some shit's different. They probably know they're not alive anymore. But we're like, oh, you don't want to scare them and tell them they're dead. I'm like, I think they would know that by now. But that's just me. I let people believe whatever they want to do. Investigate how you investigate, just being respectful. I think that there is, again, I'm a Christian. I don't force my beliefs on anybody. It's just what makes sense for me. But I believe that a loving God or goddess or life force or whatever you want to believe in would never trap somebody here. It's interesting, though. I think that the spirit worlds, people have this vision of clouds and golden gates. And I think it's just a little shift away from where we are. And I think that explains why we see that bleed over sometime. Like we started talking about in the beginning, we talk about, quantum physics and string theory and these different ideas of levels of reality. I mean, it becomes kind of like a Marvel comic, right? We've got different timelines going on. Maybe we just bleed over once in a while. Maybe we have this ability to communicate when things are just right for whatever reason. But because we're storytellers and because some of us have a hero complex, we're going to help the spirits,
Right.
Like, I don't think we really are. Half of you people can't find your way, to Starbucks without using your GPS in the neighborhood you grew up in. But you're going to help a spirit go to heaven that you're not at. I don't get that part.
Well, we've all seen what dreams may come, right?
Yes.
Right. And oh man, your empathy just pours out. It's also a frightening movie if you really think about it.
It's a beautiful movie, but it is. It can be very.
It's a scary movie. It's a beautiful movie, and it's a great story and everything else. Yeah, but man, it's frightening, man.
It is.
I was in. Okay, so staying on this, I was in. This is the whole trapped thing.
Mm-hmm.
I often thought about that because of when you hear children in EVPs and some of that stuff, that tears my heart out. Yeah. So I'm in Peru at a place called Naupa Iglesia. Mm-hmm. And it's an ancient, timeless cave in Peru, in this valley. All right. So anyway, we're up there and it's incredible. It's an incredible, the carving and the temple that's there. Nobody knows who or what. And it's incredible. All right. But the back half of the cave is walled off. Ancient stones. You can't why did they wall it off? All right. That's the first thing. What was freaking everybody out? Right. So you can go here, but the rest of it's off limits, ancient off limits, right? We're talking about 1,000-year-old wall that is blocking off the cave. So we're there, and this is what happens. We have a shaman, and we do like a 10-minute meditation, and he's singing Quechua, the ancient language, and we're doing this thing. He's burning stuff. And at the end of that, and there's like 20 of us up there, and my eyes are closed and, we're meditating. And we're in this moment of silence. He's winding down on the drums. And man, as I live and breathe, from behind that brick wall, kids were laughing.
Oh, wow.
And I hear, and it's loud too. like little girls on a playground playing, right? Mm. Okay. And so I hear it and my eyes pop open. And I'm looking at everybody else, and somebody goes, "Did you hear those kids laugh?" I go, "You heard that? Oh, it was real, right?" Yeah. And we all look, and we're looking at the wall. You can't, and it came from behind there, and it was, dude, loud. It's so. Is that something trapped? Are those kids spirit? I don't know.
Again, I think it's fine for people that want to believe that way or do believe that way. That's completely fine. It doesn't match up with my experiences over the years and or the thought pattern. Like they sounded like they were having fun. They were laughing, right? And like think about what he did. There was music, there was vibration, there was energy, there was ritual.
All of that. I agree.
All that stuff was there.
I agree.
And it's like it's attracting that spirit. And when it's there, it's laughing, it's enjoying what's going on, That's why I don't think, and it's interesting though, because you will find people with recordings, right? And this is where I think it's a lot of this. up here. Because you'll find people with recordings where they're using a ghost box or they're using just an EVP recorder, but they'll say, oh, little Charlie's here. We know your story and we feel so bad for you. And we're going to, put out these crystals. We're going to light this incense and say prayers. And we want you to go toward the light. And this is all, it's all loving. It's all good. You're not harming anybody. And then they'll get an EVP and some little boy says goodbye. And they're like, see, he said goodbye. And I'm like, but is that not us projecting? And could that not also be us?
Are we manifesting that?
Are we manifesting that EVP? Are we imprinting it? And so I did a documentary Steve Gonzalez produced with Miss Elizabeth Saint, who's brilliant. I love working with her. And it was called The House in Between Two, or the follow-up. And we go down to Mississippi.
I saw that. Yes.
We do that house in Mississippi.
Dude, that's a great documentary, by the way.
Thank you. I was honored to be a part of it. I get to work with some amazing people, both on and off camera, really great people. But one of the things an experiment that Elizabeth Saint and I did is something that I try to get people to understand is that when we're asking EVP questions, we know the answers to. Are we not possibly putting that answer on that EVP recorder? And so in the documentary, we ask the questions. Well, what item falls down the stairs? We both know the answer is baseball. The camera operator knows the answer is baseball. The audio guy. There's 4 people in the room thinking baseball, baseball, baseball. What street is this? We all know the name of the street. We're all thinking it. We play it back. We get the baseball. We get the name of the street. We get the name of the lady that lives there. But is it spirit or is it us? And so that's when we took it upon ourselves to get playing cards that we didn't look at. I held them behind my back to the camera that was unmanned. And she would ask questions. I wouldn't know what was on the cards. And then when we get recordings that answer, now I'm convinced, okay, some spiritual entity or energy was able to imprint their answer. But at a lot of my events and my Spirit Quest event and stuff that I do, what we try to do at the end of the event, because I want people to realize you are more powerful than you've ever been given credit for, but you've been taught to play small. You're distracted. You're divided. You're fighting over shit that doesn't matter. And you can't change.
Right.
Because what you can do is spiritually inside you, but you never exercise your spirit. You never use your spirit. And so I'll sit 10 to 15 people in a room. We'll put a recorder in the middle. My buddy Brian Cano and I used to do this. We did a lot of events together. I picked it up with him.
I know Brian. Yeah.
So we'll put the recorder down and we'll just ask one random person, give us a non-paranormal word, 2 to 3 syllables. And last one I did, I think the word was fire truck. Okay, everybody sit for a minute, quiet. Look at that recorder. Think of the word fire truck, picture a fire truck, spell fire truck in your head, send it to that recorder. I don't know the numbers on it, but I'll say better than 75% of the time, we all get whatever that word is. Now, is spirit there helping us, or is it us all working together to put it there?
It's still cool.
It's still cool either way. I think it's even cooler if it's us.
Yeah, man.
But in a way that also explains away the little Charlie's trapped here and we're helping him go to the other side. Which again, if you believe that, it's completely fine. You're not harming anybody. Do what you want to do, but don't discredit your own abilities because perhaps that goodbye is what you want to hear.
Now, man, see, we're already out of time. Okay. So I'll give you a multiple choice.
All right.
Because dealing with just that, we have so many experiences about a shadow figure appearing in somebody's room, putting pressure on their chest, waking up in some, shadow figures at the foot of their bed. We have black-eyed children knocking at the front door. We have men in black, wandering around. We have Slender Man, the fedora dudes, right?
Yeah.
Right. On and on, all pretty much the same thing with some details change.
Sure.
Now, I don't think that we have a billion people with deep rooted psychosis, and are hallucinating things. I don't believe that's the case. But how do we start to explain these events away? I mean, specifically like Men in Black or Black-Eyed Children.
It's I believe it to be the power of, which is a very strong power, the power of belief. The power of belief that we all manifest collectively. Here's a fun one. Remember COVID in 2020? Everyone's trapped in their house. Everyone's sitting at home. And this is not a political statement. Everyone's sitting at home. This is factual. We're all watching TV. We're watching the body count. We're watching the numbers. Oh, all these people are sick. All these people are dying. We're all thinking the same thing day in and day out. A world network of collective energy and manifestation for negativity. Took us a long time to get out of that. And I really think because a lot of it was what we were putting out there with it, making a bad situation worse by putting all that negative energy out there. One famous case that's very well known, and I like the house itself, is the old Sally house down in Atchison, Kansas. I've investigated there 3 or 4 times. And, you know, you can go a place once or twice. It doesn't mean it's haunted or not haunted based on your experiences. But I think a lot of what we get is what we bring into the place. And a lot of the stories that have been put to that house were proven to be bunk, you know, but there's still activity that happens there. I've had activity happen there. The basement's very weird and creepy. But what's interesting about it is there's, they always say there is a creeper, there's a crawler in the basement of the Sally house. There's a crawler there that if you're in the basement, you'll see it. It's got long spindly legs and it's sometimes on the ceiling, sometimes come out of the wall. There's a crawler in the basement of the Sally house. But what's interesting about crawlers, although they seem to kind of go into the shadow dimension with the Men in Black, the Hat Man, all those ones, they're all shadow figures. I don't know where you get the boutique where like you have base humanoid shadow man that I saw as a kid. Then you've got, you know, Hat Man who's got the fedora, sometimes a top hat, sometimes he has a cape, sometimes there's a cloak. I don't know where they get the extra things, but I believe that if you look back probably 16 years now, there's not a lot of evidence of crawlers prior to that. But then collectively, we all started talking about crawlers and we all start telling the story about there's a crawler in the basement of the Sally house and everybody goes there and they look for it and they think about it and they leave their energy there. And I think that we put it there. Originally, it wasn't there. But I think that we help to manifest some of the activity in these places because so many of us go there, so many of us believe, and the power of belief is such an incredible thing. And we just need to learn to manifest it in a more positive way for our daily lives. But the spooky side of things, I think it has a lot to do with us.
I have, here's my Pandora's box.
All right.
There's a lot of stuff in that box, but one of, and it hasn't happened, well, sort of, is one night, I'm going to go through my motions that I do every night, and it's going to end badly. And this is it. This is the Pandora's box. I go in my bedroom, I turn on my light, and something is there looking at me. That's my Pandora's box, right?
Yeah.
And it hasn't officially happened. Okay. But am I manifesting it? Am I, you know what I mean? Am I building it up? And then it happened.
Right.
I went down the hallway here, goes down to the other end of the house where I have a music studio. This isn't the music.
I was going to say, what is this?
Yeah. So I've got drums in there, bass amps, guitar amps, PA system, lights, you know, all that stuff. Big Van Halen banner on the wall, right, where we go in and rock out. Anyway, so that's down on the other end of the house. And right outside, and that studio has double doors, right? It's not a single door, it's double doors that are open. So it's a big opening. And in front of it is a bathroom. And the bathroom door in the hallway is angled. The door isn't flat on the hallway. It's like 45 degree. You have to go down the hallway to the double door, and then you see the bathroom because there's no door, right? It's angled. So I go into the bathroom where there's a mirror, a full mirror, and I'm looking at myself. Here's the toilet, and here's the mirror, and you get to look at yourself and you use the bathroom. All right. Okay. All right. But in that mirror, you can see the double doors in the reflection because of the angle of the bathroom door. You can see the double doors.
Yeah.
So I'm looking in the mirror and this frigging shadow figure, I'm going to change it. The shadow figure goes past my shoulders in the room behind me like this.
Oh, geez.
Right?
Yeah.
I screamed. I screamed. I
I
fell
bet.
backwards. I fell backwards into the. I did, man. Ah!
Yeah.
and I fall into the door. I regain. And I walk out. I go across the hallway. I turn on the hallway light. It was dark. I turn on the hallway light, and I go into the music room. There's nothing there. Of course, there's nothing there. But what happened was real. Now, I backed up and I've thought about this a lot. I think I manifested that. I saw what I saw. That part.
It definitely was there. Yeah.
Well, here's the crazy part, Dustin. I didn't see it out of the corner of my eye. Right? It wasn't that. I was looking at it in the mirror, like direct right over my shoulders. And it lasted for as long as dude, it was
that's terrifying.
It was like Nosferatu, you know, the shadow of Nosferatu on the wall.
Yeah.
It was like
that's awesome.
And I think I manifested it.
Yeah, it's possible because you said you kept thinking about it, but yeah,
it didn't. It doesn't change what happened, right? But I'm just wondering if I manifested that.
Yeah, it's quite possible, man. It's funny because one of the things that I'm always worried about, and again, I try not to think about it because I don't want it to happen. But every time, like at night when I brush my teeth, and then you lift your head up from the sink, I'm always terrified something's going to be like right there. So I try not to think about it because you don't want to attract.
I do the same thing. You know? No, I brush my teeth looking at myself the whole time. I do, man. I do. I swear. And
I love it.
I do not want to catch the mirror surprise.
No, not at all.
Japanese horror movies when they do that stuff.
They're the worst at that. Oh my God, I hate it.
The worst.
Terrible,
and so now here's the crazy thing. This is my OCD playing out. I will not enter my hallway now, day or night, without turning on the lights.
Yeah. It's just in your head now. Yeah.
No, man. I'm telling you, I fell backwards. I screamed and fell backwards. Man. So no, I'm looking at it right now. I see the light switch.
Right.
I can hit that light switch without looking at it, you know, in the middle of the day, I turn on the lights.
Right. No.
Yeah.
But it's interesting though, because I mean, think about it, just like in our day-to-day lives, like how many times do you think about somebody and then they call you, or you're about to call them and you look at your phone and they're already calling you? Like there's this connection. There's a mental ability. There's so much that we're capable of doing. So yeah, why can't we create something like that? You know, it physically was there. You actually saw it, but it was something that you kept thinking was going to be there and eventually was there, you know?
What do you I'm going to talk about UFOs for a second.
Yeah, let's do it. I love UFOs.
Me too. And aliens. And the reason why is when we look at the body of folklore and mythology that we have in front of us, that goes back thousands of years. The Greeks, man, wrote some of the best ghost stories 2,000 years ago, man.
The first written one, Pliny the Younger, was the guy.
Man, I swear that is every movie that is made today is based on that. Right?
It really is.
You have the realtor, the home buyer, right? You have the whole thing that plays out in that.
The tethered spirit, chains, everything.
The chains. So this has been going on for a long time. And have you thought, because we're dealing with sleep paralysis and these other things and alien encounters in the room, are they the same stories historically, but they weren't aliens, so they gave it another name?
Yeah, so it's like sleep paralysis is interesting. I've dealt with sleep paralysis on a medical level, like just the actual medical reasons for it. But then I've also had, like the night terror attack as well. And yeah, the old days, it was the old hag, right? The witch sitting on your chest, or the demon, the imp. And then now
leprechauns,
yeah,
the troll under the bridge.
There's another one too in back with Japan. I think it's called the ghost pushes you down. It's got like a metal kind of like grate or something with it. But all these things are if you like, again, like you said, they're all kind of, the seed is kind of the same, but the story changes based on the society, based on the religious understandings, the spiritual aspects of it are always just a little bit different. I used to tell people like I have this theory about God, that God is like Hallmark cards, and it's like one parent company, but then there's like shoebox for people that like to laugh, mahogany for people of different skin tones, just how I feel for people that like to cry, and blank inside for those of us that are just dead inside. But when you go and you buy any one of those cards, it's the same parent company, you know. It's just different understandings, different prophets, different tongues, but pretty much the same stories for just people in different lands before we could communicate like we do now all over the world. And we take that idea and we look at it in the supernatural element of things, and it is very much the same. And like, I'm a huge Ancient Aliens fan, so like I'm all into all that kind of stuff, you know. And I think that some of those stories, especially when we talk about like the shadow figures and the shadow dimension, that was my gateway ghost. That was my first encounter. Do I know if it was alien? Do I know if it was something I manifested? Was it me from the future visiting me from the past, putting me on that path? Because if it's not for that shadow figure, I don't end up wandering in the woods looking for spirits all the time. I don't end up on a TV show. I don't travel the world. I don't get to do all these things, but I had that moment, and that put me on this whole other path. So there could be a lot to be said about how it may be just, you know, we're looking at what's the old adage, we're blind men on opposite end of an elephant trying to decide what it is that we're feeling, you know, completely different understandings of the same thing.
Well, is it just in our DNA? Is it just in our DNA?
We need more, man.
Yeah, right.
We need more than this. We do. So we're storytellers, you know. We're storytellers.
The ideas behind that, for instance, when I'm in a supermarket and I walk down the cereal aisle and I see Lucky Charms, I see a little green alien, right?
Instead of the leprechaun man?
Right.
Yeah.
And it just makes you wonder if some of these encounters throughout history were real, but then they need to be explained away and told in the time period that they're in.
Right.
You know, if you have an encounter in 500 AD, you're not talking about aliens from other worlds in the universe, right?
Yeah.
You have to explain it away with the knowledge base that you have at that time, so it turns into a ghost story, or it's the old hag in the woods, or it's a leprechaun, or, you know, troll under the bridge, for instance.
Right.
We have all of that, but I just wonder if it's a real experience, but you have to talk about it in the historical period that you're in.
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of truth to that. We can only explain things based on our experiences. You know, I'm only as good as many cases as I've done, but that doesn't make me, you know, the end all and be all of it, because there's other people have done more. There's still things I haven't learned. There's still things I haven't seen, but I can only explain things based on my experience. We're all just a product of our own experiences, our own understandings, and a lot of that comes down to where we were raised, how we were raised, what cultures we've been in, where lands we've traveled to, the experiences that we've had, and what we believe in. And belief is the most powerful thing in all of it, whether it's spiritual, whether it's religion, whether it's folklore, whether it's scary ghosts and things. Belief is what powers all of it. But I think there's a need for us. There's a need for us as souls going through this human experience to believe in more, because I feel like this world, especially now, has become very, very fake. And I think we're starting to see, you know, the little kind of rips in the seams here and there. And I'm starting to get into that part of life where I'm like, maybe it is all just a grand experiment. Maybe it is all just an illusion, you know, like, I don't know. You see those guys that take the ayahuasca and they put the red laser light on the wall and they stare at it. And they say,
he's a friend of mine.
Code. Oh, really?
Yeah, Danny.
I'm so
Gore.
into that. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I want to do that, man. I want to see this stuff.
Do you want to do? You're a Christian.
That's
sure
okay.
You want to?
Yeah, okay. I'm an open-minded Christian. I also want to take those little Japanese mushrooms of it. You see the little people everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, why do 96% of the people have the same hallucination? Like, that's interesting.
Okay. You know? I know. Trust me, I've done it. I don't partake in stuff.
Yeah.
But DMT, let's just be very specific here. DMT is not a drug. It's not. No. It's simply not a drug. I've done it 3 times. Okay. And to experience another world
Mhm.
instantly. Okay.
Amazing.
Faster than you can take a breath. It's that fast. Okay. Go like this. You're there.
Yeah. That's going to be amazing.
It's not whatever pod or whatever. Are we
Yeah,
high?
no.
Are we high yet? Do you feel it? No, it ain't that kind of party, man.
Yeah.
It's instant. And to experience that, my whole point with it is when it's 5 minutes, 5 minutes,
Yeah.
5 minutes, 10 minutes in and out.
Yeah. You're not altering your whole life.
No, or
exactly.
you know, it's my life is in a complete time management situation, right? It's all about time management. I don't have time to invest into but if it's 5 minutes, okay, I can do that. I can invest that. Anyway, when you come out of that and all you can, you have to rationalize with yourself that there is another thing that's going on here right now. It's just it's a frequency off. That's it. That's it.
Exactly. That's why I'm curious about. Like, that's what I want to learn more about, you know. And it's, you know, to your point, some people are like, "But you're a Christian." I'm like, well, yeah, but I really feel like most of the laws given to us were given to us by man. I think God wants us to be able to, you know, respectfully and then also safely experience some different things. Like, I always tell people, because I love, you know, I travel a lot. I'm always at airports, and I spend more times in delays at airport bars, and I love a good drink and I love a good glass of rum. But I always tell people, celebrate responsibly. Like, you know, do different things that make sense for you, but don't let it control your life. You know, I'm always in control of whatever it is I do. But I'm curious about these other things. And like you said, it's just a frequency shift.
In the time that we have left, we've got 3 minutes. As a Christian, I'm going to ask this question inbound. You don't have to worry about it. But as a Christian, God wouldn't have just created us, Earth, us.
Right. There's more.
Right. So why question aliens and visitations to this planet and life throughout the universe? God didn't just do it here.
Yeah, he didn't just make background for us. We're not the grandest show on earth. I mean, maybe we are the grandest show on earth, but there's other stuff out there. Who knows? But no, I think there's a lot more that goes on. And I think that again, I sound like a broken record, but I really feel like from day one, early on, once governments got involved in the world, the world stage, not America, but the world stage, those that had power wanted to retain power. And so what better way than to get other people below you to operate out of fear, which is what so many people do, and then to play small and believe that this is all there is and this is all you can do and this is it, because they need to stay in power. So you're going to continue to work and be a happy little cog in the machine. Don't think outside the box. Don't ask bigger questions. Don't believe in other things. Just believe in what we tell you, because this is what's true. And so I always say, as a Christian, I'm more kind of like a Dead Sea Scrolls kind of Christian. I'm more of kind of what the Essenes wrote, about a lot of the books that didn't get put into the Bible because Rome was like, this one's good. This one doesn't serve our purpose. Burn this one. So there's a lot more that's out there. And again, I think that a loving God or goddess, whatever it is for different people, would allow for us to explore and to understand and to learn and to grow, because this is what helps us to continue forward. And by doing that, we're able to take care of each other, hopefully a little bit better, because as we become more enlightened, when you start to realize that an EVP is something more, right? Whatever it might be, whether it's our ability or it's spirit, we realize it's something more than just going to work. You start thinking about life a little bit differently, and maybe you start treating each other a little bit differently.
Isn't that the best place to be in? And I have such empathy for people that don't think that way. It's like, man, life must be boring.
It must be
all
boring.
Right. So based on that,
are
we being visited right now?
It's quite possible. I think so. I think there's probably a lot going on that we don't see, that we're not aware of, or that is just kept from us, I definitely think that there's extraterrestrials out there. And one of my favorite moments, Hinsdale House in New York, real quick, I was doing a little ghost box session, which I'm here nor there on, depending on how you ask the questions. That's the important part. It shouldn't be an audible Rorschach test. You ask specific questions, you need specific answers. And I asked this voice that was talking to us, it sounded robotic and weirder than ever. And I said, where are you watching us from? It said, we're watching you from above, Earthies. And I was like, what? It said,
I like that.
Earthies. I was like,
Earthies.
that is awesome. Like, to me, that's the coolest thing. Like,
Are you hip to Tony Rathman's work?
Not too familiar with it. No.
Okay. All right. Just write that down. And
Yeah.
I can have Tony reach out to you, but that's his stuff. He's a techie, right?
Yeah.
He builds stuff, and he has built his latest version, software, complete sentences and conversations.
Oh, wow. Nice.
The most amazing. He's built all those, spear boxes.
Yeah.
Okay, we've all dealt with that.
Hmm.
But he's taken it to the next level.
Nice.
And that's one of the things, very, very specific. You have to just, I'll put you guys in touch.
Yeah, it'd be great.
But I think that's one of the things with some of the skeptics and the debunkers, and it's a legitimate claim.
Mm-hmm.
One word answers, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I get that. Well, one of the things that will help close this out for us is getting a conversation going with sentences back and forth. And he's on to something, his research. And I think it's very exciting. I'll let him explain to you how it gets done. But when you hear that kind of conversation happen, then that's when you go, okay, all right. This isn't the one word answer.
Right. Yeah, that's the best. I look forward to checking it out. Because that's the way we need to go with it if we're going to continue to go with it. But you have to ask specific questions and not just accept any answer and make a new story out of it,
Absolutely. Yeah. Get out here to the West Coast, man. Let's do something together.
I'd love to, brother. Thank you for your time tonight. This has been awesome.
You're the best. Thank you.
Right.
Dustin Pari, everybody. Thank you, Dustin. Enjoy the rest of your night.
All right, you too.
Dustin's out there. He's on the East Coast, and so very late for him and his family. But thank you, Dustin. Great conversation. And where are we? Oh, tomorrow night, L.A. Marzulli is here. And so we're going to get into alternative history and the Bible and everything else tomorrow night with L.A. Thank you, Dustin. Perfect night on the show for me and everybody else. And I'm going to get out of here. So everybody, enjoy your night. I'll see you tomorrow. But for now, all I've got is go back, Lee Tap. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee Newman, and Michelle Freed. Special thanks to Bill, John, Dex, Jessica, Dennis, and Kevin. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music by Doug Aldrich. Intro, Space Boy. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2024 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Go back, Lee Tappy.